So strap in and get ready.
The leaders in NRL Supercoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Mattrix, and Whisperer.
Oh, holy moly. Talk about injury carnage. It wouldn't be TLT without some form of shake-up, but this has got to be probably the biggest maybe TLT carnage we've seen since round 27, boys. What do you reckon, Mattrix? And first of all, it's the first time we've been on a podcast together in at least a fortnight. We've been carrying the weight. Josh is actually the main person that's just held the podcast together at the moment.
Are you okay, man? Did you have a beer or two, or yeah, Dick's out for Mattrix or what? Look, I must say, this afternoon, I nearly burnt myself making dinner, so I nearly didn't make the pod. So
nearly an Albert Hopewade.
Yeah, exactly. Not a Will Hopewade, not to be confused. It was an Albert Hopewade.
Yeah. We'll move away from Will very quickly. Josh, how you going, mate? A bit going on this week. This could be, I've seen some comments, this could be a 3-hour pod.
Mate, the injury wrapper, walking around on broken leg, could take a good 90 minutes. Jesus Christ. What was today? What was this week? Like, it was just mental. And everything happened at once as well. Like, Cleary, and about half an hour later, Moses. And we're like, all right, cool. We've got a chance to... Everyone within 20 minutes was like, right, cool. Cleary to Moses straight away. We said this on the wrap-up show that he was probably the best option. And then that was taken away from us. And then literally today at 4 o'clock, it was just like, one thing after another. It started this morning with Pierre Cora, and we'll get to that, but it was just wild. And some Isaiah Yo being out for 4 weeks, chat was getting around, and so it was just an interesting day on the social media front.
Yeah, Isaiah made a miraculous recovery, so good from him. Guys, before we jump into things, the show's, of course, always brought to you by the Standard Squeeze and Ryan from Astute Newstead. Obviously, we are live for anybody watching, so drop your questions in. We will answer the best ones, so make them good. Hamo is ready for the over or under 4.5 beers for Mattrix. Is that even a question?
I've remortgaged my house through Hamo and put it on the overs.
The problem is you're going to get $1.07 for that. So
better than the bank interest.
Yeah, speaking of bank interest, we'll talk about Hamo and how he can help people get their bank interest down. But drop your questions in, guys. Subscribe, like, follow, review, do all those things. Let's talk about how we did last week, because you guys had a chance on Sunday to talk about how you went pre-lockout, but how did things look post-lockout, Matty? Got the little championship trophy thing there next to your name.
Yeah, should have been there all year, to be honest. I've been walking around the house wearing the trophy. It's tough being me. Look, I've never been so excited to be 23,000th in my life than doing a podcast with you guys. So thanks, guys, for boosting my ego. But yeah, I was just under 1,000. Updates got me up. And I quote said, anything under 1,000 is shit. Anything over 1,000 is good. I would say my week was still mid.
Is that him like throwing shade at us, basically saying that we're worse than mid, Josh?
Yeah, I think so. Mate, I'm blessed. Like, I was distraught when Zach Laibart wasn't named on game day. I was like, my whole world's capitulated. I don't know what to do. I'm forced to take this Cleary loop. It's a disaster because I won the Captain Turbo, but it pushed me up 1 point above you. So that's the main thing. I didn't come last on the show, but yeah, the rank. Hey, we saw a green arrow, so that's always a positive thing. And I think I'm only about 500-600 points off the lead, which, you got to look at the silver linings, but my team's in shambles and there may be a back-to-back boost on the cards. We're not too sure, but obviously looking at yourself, mate, you're smack bang in between the two of us.
In terms of rank, yes, you got me by 1 point. I've got the Spud of the Week award if we're ever going to do something like that. 981. Wasn't a great week for the audio listeners that can't see the score on the screen, but 51,000. Look, it's been, you know what? I've done a Supercoach ACL, I think, to start the season. I'm just unsure whether it's going to be a 9-month recovery for me or whether I'm going to be able to get back for finals. So we'll find out. I'll have to ask the NRL physio how long the recovery is for a Supercoach ACL. I'm sure there's a few.
Maybe you can be like a Pat Carrigan and just have no performance effects and just come back fit and firing. So maybe we'll hope for that.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. I see boost for Sevo in the chat from Ian Johnson, which is going to make you pretty excited, Josh. So I'm sure we'll talk about that very soon as well. But guys, join our Unlimited League if you haven't yet as well. It's 777-141 is the code. SC Champions Ring for the winner. Standard squeeze prize pack valued at $80 for the top scorer every single week. And we should talk about the squeeze of the week brought to you by the Standard Squeeze. But before we do that, we'll give them a shout out. If you're sick of breaking glass bottles, maybe your beer going warm, your coffee gets cold, the Standard Squeeze have you covered to help you drink responsibly, but also conveniently. You can go to their website, thestandardsqueeze.com, and use the code INSIGHT15 to get yourself 15% off everything in store. Now, the top scorer for round 2, boys, goes to Ziggy, coach of Hindsight Heroes. Probably not the first time I've seen that name. Can do a little bit better than that, I think. And we'll come back to that. With it, he got a 12.
I realize I'm on the business account now, so I've got to be.
Yeah, you can see the comments. We've unleashed a beast now, letting you do that. Yeah. 1,288 for Ziggy. So takes out the top scorer of the round, gets himself either a combo pack or a 4-in-1. So hop into our email, and it's contact at insightfantasysports.com.au. Flick us an email, mate, and we'll get that sent out to you. Now, I need to come back to that comment very soon. But we should talk about the World Cup, shouldn't we? And people can still enter, can't they, Mattrix? It's week 2 of the World Cup, but kind of 3 weeks into the NRL, 2 weeks into the AFL.
Yeah, and it's great. Like, I've started getting a bit involved in AFL. I've maybe started talking to my friends about AFL and asking them who to add and who not to add. But I'm handing over my NRL knowledge as well. But yeah, I'm probably most excited about BBL and NBL as well. But yeah, I suppose carry myself through the AFL season. But it's the best that you can do over 4 different. Sorry, I'm not gonna. I'll scull the rest of this one. But it's the best that you can do over all 4 Supercoach leagues to find out the best Supercoach player of all.
Shout out to Hamo for the super chat there. Appreciate that. But also, he's asking for a standard squeeze skull Matrix. Which
Entire standard squeeze skull, that would put you in hospital. Jesus Christ.
I think
maybe just like the portion at the top when you squeeze it, just that skull.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, the little 30 mil nip thing, maybe we'll do that a little bit later for Hamo, but shout out to Hamo. Thanks for the support, mate.
Speaking of the World Cup, any chance we can get AFL ranks on the screen next week? Just asking out of curiosity.
Just asking for a mate, yeah. Is the mate you?
Maybe.
So we'll post the top 5 NRL, AFL, and the top 5 in the full World Cup. We'll do that every week. So that'll come out tomorrow morning. Everybody in the Discord has already seen it, though. So if you want to know on a Tuesday, hop in the Discord. Here is the top 5 for the World Cup. So we've got Brent, good friend of the show. He is absolutely killing it at the moment. 5.89%, leading the way. So he's 10,300th in NRL and 8,000th in AFL, which is huge. Then we've got Paul V in 25,000th in NRL, but 1,800th in AFL. So it just shows you don't necessarily need to be killing it in any sport. You can definitely prop up your percentage with a good rank in one of those sports. We've got Brad, who's very even, 16 and 19K. That puts him in 3rd. We've got Cameron, Arson Dragon, he's known as on Twitter. He's 18 and 21,000. And then we've got David, the winner of NBL Supercoach in 2023-4. He's in 3,000th in NRL, so killing it, and 41,000th in AFL. So he's in 5th. So congrats to those 5 guys are leading the way. But I tell you what, it is a marathon, not a sprint. There is a long way to go in this one. So we'll be updating everybody every week as we go through the 4 different Supercoach sports as well. So let's... Goodness me, there is a bit going on. Bear with us. This could be a long one, but let's talk into it.
You boys comfortable? I was going to say, we strapped in for the next...
You got another beer, Mattrix? You got another beer ready? You good to go?
Yeah, I do actually. I just finished that one.
I've counted 23 players on this list, which is absolutely absurd.
Some Supercoach relevant, some not. We'll skip over the ones that aren't, but there might be some maybe relevance in the replacement player, so we'll try and dive into those. But Payne Haas, he's obviously had surgery on his knee. We talked about him last week. He will miss 6 weeks. I Is there any benefit there where we're looking at Xavier Willison now finding a spot on the bench, I think, is maybe the main recipient of some extra minutes
Maybe a
there?
little
Any
bump
thoughts, Mattrix?
Maybe a little bit of a bump from a Jensen or somebody like that, but Willison is the best one there. You can wait a week, though, if you're not going to play him this week. I know this week's a big trade week, and I'd advise on waiting a week on X, but I love X as a prospect, and you'll probably get a good 3 or 4 weeks out of him, and I think that he'll play himself into a standard role. Of course, it'll be diminished a little bit once Haas comes back, but I think we'll find him on the bench for most of the year now. He was really good last week.
Also sizable dropping as well that we'll touch on in the TLT recap as well, which obviously helps X out massively. We saw Reece Walsh suffer that facial fracture with that pretty sickening hit with Taylor May in about the 5th minute or so, and he looks like he's going to be out for about 4 to 5 weeks. I mean, there was some conflicting reports that it was no bone, then bone, and it was confirmed to be a facial fracture, which isn't good. Braino, there was plenty of people that brought Walsh in last week, brutal, to bring him in just to trade him out.
I mean, the good thing is you've got some trade out options. You can move to Trell, who's playing the Bulldogs. You can move to Gutho now, who is every chance of seeing an increased role and probably seeing a few extra points. Has the goal kicking too. So, look, there's 2 off the top of my head that I think it's not the end of the world. It's just not great. You have to go and kind of...
Thanks, mate. First time doing this one, so...
Yeah, who would have thought?
Appreciate that, Mr. Calio. Appreciate that.
Been there, done that. Brendan Piakura. Now, this one kind of came from the clouds, didn't it, in the last 48 hours? I'm a Brendan Piakura owner, and I couldn't get him out of my team quicker. I think I said in the chat to you boys last week he was on like 18 with about 15 minutes to go, and he ended up getting that try assist and the line break assist. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking get this guy out so quick out of my team. It's not funny. And then he's got injured, so it's fine. I can go and do that now. So he's going to be out for 4 weeks with an ankle sprain by the looks of things. Greg Marju, hand wrist fracture. So he's obviously had surgery on that. He'll be back in 4 to 6 weeks. Mitchell Moses, boys. This one's big because, I mean, obviously this kind of goes hand in hand with Nathan Cleary, who's been said to be back after the bye. So we're looking at probably 2 to 3 weeks or 2 missed games for Nathan Cleary with a hamstring strain. But Mitchell Moses with a foot fracture, Mattrix, is out for 8+ weeks, which is big because obviously with foot fractures, you don't get a lot of blood supply to the extremities of your body. So fingers, toes, feet, hands are usually the slowest to recover. So not good for the Eels.
Might even impact his goal kicking when he comes back. Shout out to Mitchell Moses for making my team for about an hour this week. Yeah, look, I'm not sure if he'll make it again this year, but Mitchell Moses made it for an hour. So that's great.
Yeah, but I guess maybe... Do we see Dylan Brown uptick, Josh? Is there any love there for any other Eels? Gutho and Dylan Brown kind of come to mind, don't they?
Any left-sided wingers for the Eels, perhaps? Crazy enough. I mean, I think so. I mean, you've obviously, and we'll touch on the TLT news, but you've got Blaze Talangi named at 6. I'm not taking any stock into who's named at 6 and who's named at 7. I'd be shocked if Brad Arthur moves that combination on the left. But yeah, probably it's more an uptick for Gutho. I mean, if you had Walsh, I don't hate a Gutho trade in. I know he's got a massive break even. I think it's like 135, but I do not hate a Gutho trade in this week. We know how good he is without Brown. I haven't looked into the stats too much, and I can do it if people do request it. But I can have a look at the stats without Brown. Without Moses. Not that there'd be a huge sample size there. But yeah, halfbacks. A lot of people brought in Moses, replacing the injured Nathan Cleary with a hamstring strain. Channel 9 were the first ones to break this with the spotting of him having the hamstring, sort of grabbing the hamstring a little bit when he was taken off last week. Penrith came out and said, nah, nothing's wrong. It's all good. Don't stress. And they were caught with their pants down. And he's out. Now, I can't trust Penrith moving forward, but they've said probably could have played this week, might play next week. Most likely going to be after the bye, though, which then begs the question, is he a buy, hold, or a sell? If you have Nico Hines, it makes things really tough with the round 5 buy for Hines, but we'll touch on that in buy, hold, and sell. But Braino, Lindsay Collins, not great for the Chooks, but pretty good for Terrell May.
Look, you'd hope so. I mean, he gets the start this week, which is great. There were rumours floating around about Terrell May maybe not being named today or maybe not seeing some football this weekend.
He was concerned too, Mattrix. Like, he went up last week at like the 77th minute, which is a very weird time to go off, and he went straight up the tunnel clutching at a calf, but looks like it was just a cork, thank God, because if he was out, AFB was out, Sorry, not AFB. Imagine if he was out as well. Tino was out. Haas was out. If May was out, and then Cotter had that sort of ankle sprain that we didn't know what was going on with. Front row forward would have been mental, Mattrix.
Front row forward's already mental, but I tell you what, for someone that said that didn't want to burn too many trades in front row forward, I could have done about 6 this year already.
Thank God we've got
It's
Liam
been
Henry.
Hasn't he been a saviour? Like the 230 or whatever he was, that just basement price front row forward plotter bench player, and everyone's starting him this week with no issues at all. And obviously, definitely helps when you've got one less guy rotating through the middle for the Panthers as well.
When you're getting suspended was probably the best thing to happen to people's front row forwards because it saved so many trades.
Yep, absolutely. Very quickly, Lindsay Collins hamstring strain. Overly Supercoach relevant there, but we'll talk about maybe some implications and how that rotation looks moving forward there. Scott Sorensen has an MCL strain, so he'll be out for the Panthers for up to 4 weeks. We see Luke Garner come back in there again, probably not someone we're looking at. Toby Rudolph. Now, hang on, sorry, before this, the Sharks are fucked.
Oh, mate.
They're completely fucked.
Mate.
Sorry, I'm just going to throw it out there. Their front row, their forward rotation is completely cooked this week.
Right, let me pull up my tweet, the one that had everyone out, because boy howdy, there was a lot. So what are they called? The Sharks. Dale Finucane, Toby Rudolph, Royce Hunt, Braden Hamlin-Uele, Britton Nicola, and Jesse Cole-Holland will all not be selected this weekend, which has forced Sifitalica to go back to the edge because they got no one. And that's obviously brought Kale Ero in. So we can probably just cover all of the Sharks there in one because none of them are relevant. But apart from Royce Hunt, of course. But yeah, man, they're screwed.
Yeah, cooked. No good. Toby Rudolph, I miss a fair bit of time as well. Syndesmosis is usually a pretty lengthy injury. So, I'm not trusting any of those front row forwards, though. Oregon Kafusi, we talked about a bit, but I just don't think there's any point.
Just before we continue, I've gotten this question heaps, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but players don't get dual position because of injury. Raymond Crane has put in the chat. Brown to get dual with being named at 7, possibly before the next dual updates. Unfortunately, they've made this pretty clear with what's his name, Cotter last year, that because of injuries, they don't give out dual positions, unfortunately. And I know that people were looking at a Blaze Talangi, 5'8" centre wing dual, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case based off just precedent. Tane Tuiapiki, RIP for his relevance because it's now done. With Charles Nickel Klukstar coming back next week, he obviously suffered that Cat 1 HIA, ruling him out for 11 days, and most importantly, ruling him out of our Supercoach teams moving forward. But it does open the door up for a certain Dalian winning fullback to slot in. But he's out, and boys, the biggest news out of this casualty ward, Tino, Fa'asul, Malawi. You've got 2 Queenslanders on this trio. Obviously for Origin, I'm glad you're probably glad to hit the back of him, Braino.
I'm stoked. Tom Gilbert and Tino to be out at Origin. No offense to those guys. Hopefully they have a quick recovery and everything goes well for them. But like as a New South Welshman, I think those 2 guys are going to be very sorely missed for Queensland. So look, he was 20% owned, Tino. Yeah. So it's not like he was just like 8% owned like previous years and he was a pod. He definitely wasn't this year. So that's going to hurt people, but it also is going to free up a fair bit of cash at front row forward, and how you use that then is going to be interesting. Liam Henry could be a guy that if you don't have him, you just have to grab him now and you just leave him there, Mattrix.
Yeah, I think so. I have played him most weeks and he is playing there for the foreseeable future now. So
Mattrix, he's pretty confident considering Jermaine Hopgood's just about to walk into this Queensland 13 jersey, isn't he?
Yeah, I reckon. Jermaine Hopgood probably on form could have played last year. It's
not a bad issue to have in Queensland. I'll tell you that
for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of depth there. No complaints.
Another Queenslander coming up. Another Queenslander in Cotter. Obviously suffered that weird high lateral ankle sprain, and there was reports of 1 to 2 weeks. But looks like he's been named. That was concerning if you're a Tino, Haas, or Cotter owner.
Look, I don't have him in Supercoach, luckily, but I've got him in Fantasy and I've got him in Dream Team. So not ideal, and in 2 out of the 3 formats. But look, if he's named, great. But we know that Todd Payton likes to play Ducks and Drakes with his starting lineup. So let's just see what that looks like pre-game. Kyle Labert is a guy that I'm sure you're very happy to see named in the centres this week, Josh, because he's a guy you've been banking on.
troubling times when the first your first reaction at TLT is to open up the Cowboys and just see if Leibott's name. So, I mean, I'm not banking on anything because there's been no injury report. I was scouting high and low for something to come out. And, of course, Todd Payton had a press conference and he spoke about most of the injuries in the squad, but no one asked him about Leibott. So I was nervous and I need him to play this week. So hopefully he is fine. Tom Chester, there's an unknown here. I didn't see him pick up anything.
No,
Disappointed for Tom Chester.
Yeah, he's a guy that's always sort of he's been great when he's been asked to play, but you wanted to see him get that continual run.
For sure. Sandon Smith gets 1 gig and has a elbow hyperextension, so he misses some time. We've got Bryce Cartwright, who has been named but rumoured to have a rib fracture, which is wild because from what NRL physio is saying, this is a really kind of super painful injury, obviously, and there's nothing that you can do except wait it out for recovery with ribs, but you'd like to think performance is going to be down, surely, if he does end up suiting up.
It's not just a physio thing, but like every major journalist was like tweeting that he was out. Like Chalmers, obviously physio. Like there was a lot of NRL guys that are tweeting, with like a fractured rib. So, you know, if he does play through a power to him, and it'll probably just be a pain management thing. But I don't see him playing on game day. Not with all the reports. Like it's not just a Facebook rumor that people jump on way too easily. It's it was pretty concrete from physio and Chalmers, and I think some mainstreams picked up as well.
Yeah, Cam Murray's been named as well, but there was rumor there that he kind of was like he didn't finish a training session during the week, and a bit going on there. Knee bursitis is apparently the issue, but he's been named, so fingers crossed he can get out on the park. Billy Smith, yet again, just adding to his large book of injuries with an ankle sprain and cartilage issue there. So I guess some question marks around him. Jack Whiten has also been named with a knee injury, but Alex Twal, there was a couple of things going on with him. So initially he went off for a concussion, ended up coming back, but then was seen sitting on the bench clutching at a lower limb. So I'm not 100% sure exactly why. Do you have any more info on this one, Josh?
No, NBWT, obviously a good Twitter account that posts a lot of Tiger stuff, had him as concussion stand down. I think, and Jake Simpkins was stretched off as well in New South Wales Cup. So that was the only Tigers news to come out, but probably wheels up for Sammy Fainu. They've picked a pretty lean bench as well. So handy for him, but that was all the injury news. It wasn't too bad actually in the end. We managed to power through it.
Yeah, we did all right. We didn't go into too much depth, but well, let's dive into the week coming up then, eh? Now, the weekly preview, of course, is brought to you from Ryan from Astute Newstead. Now, if your home loan rates are above 6.2%, maybe you want to buy your first home, maybe you want to refinance, renovate, or maybe you just want to save some money like the rest of us, then you can reach out to Ryan at Astute Newstead for an obligation and cost-free inquiry. You can go to his link tree. It is in the description below. Use the code INSIGHT to let him know that we sent you, and he'll look after you. So I think Ryan's in the chat. Is he? Hopefully. Yeah, he is. Hit me up. Save some money. Good shout. So hit Ryan up.
Don't be scared off by his rude head. He's actually a good bloke.
Strong moustache, apparently. But also, I've got to give him props for 1 second because I was hitting him up Saturday night, and because I'm trying to buy a house at the moment, and Hamo's looking after me, and messaging him Saturday night about a few different things, and he goes, "Hang on, I'm on the piss. Like, I don't want to get back to you right now, but I'll email you on Sunday morning." And he got back to me, and he looked after me Sunday morning. Didn't have to, but did. So good bloke. Rude head, good bloke.
Yeah, can we just highlight this one from Cade? Shout out to Royce Hunt doing his calf in the sideline warm-ups. Haven't heard anything more village than that. And that sums up a few of our early preseason calls as a whole. So a man doing his calf in a warm-up, almost as good as that bloke in the Super Bowl who went to sprint onto the field and then rocked his Achilles. Right?
Brutal. The game of his life does that. Yeah, it's nearly as good as a cooking incident.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ian Johnson just said we forgot the Hopawade MasterChef mishap. So, I Physio posted this, and I said, with the shower slip and the MasterChef mishap, do we need to get, like, you know how Apple have those classes for old people to teach them how to use their phone? Do we need to get one for NRL players just to learn how to do basic day-to-day tasks?
Yeah, maybe. Sounds, it's very Cam Munster-ish, isn't it?
Very.
Let's move into buy, hold, sell. There's a bit to talk about today, but some obvious ones. We'll talk about the buys first.
Targets acquired.
Oh, it's a West Tiger. to kick things off, and I love seeing a West Tiger at the top of the buy list. Lachlan Galvin, what a man. What a man. Bit of Adam Dewey about this bloke, but minus 60 odd break even. Can you pass that up?
I mean, you wouldn't have to buy him if you listen to the Insight show in the preseason.
We all have him.
Yeah, we all started with him. Wasn't too bad from us. That's one of the better ones we've had, Mattrix.
That's the question. Like, Max Plath's another one getting around. Like, he's 270 with a minus break even starting at lock. And the people are like, I feel like this is a this is like a Lussick Levi situation where it's like, what do you do? Like, where do you go? I probably lean to Galvin just with the better job security and the better, not better floor, but like better ceiling. Yeah, he looks really good. Like, really, really good. I'm trying to get too
yeah, you said bad, well, not as good of a floor, but I mean, he's basing 35, which is bloody good for a 5'8". Like, Mattrix, obviously the less...
Hard to compare it with a lock, but
yeah,
he's also
right.
70k cheaper, so...
Matty, we're obviously Tigers bias. Are we talking out of turn here, or do you agree?
Lock it in, Eddie. No, it's a good play. Like, honestly, what I saw on the weekend really impressed. Honestly, the question at this stage is, do I play him? And that's not something. I had him as a genuine, let's save some money in 5/8 and spend up for blokes like Dillbags and everything. And it's been a great treat and a great surprise. You could play him a lot of weeks, I think.
That's why I highlighted this comment from Ian Johnson. I wanted to ask you boys, like, we all think he's a must-have. Is he a play from now moving forward, even without the carnage? Like, is he a play without the carnage?
He's play with the carnage.
Of course, with the carnage, but in a regular week.
Like, early season, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously as we start to see a little bit more form and get a little bit more of an understand, or even maybe upgrade to some guns. I don't know. But yeah, I reckon I said to Matty on the phone earlier today, because he likes to call me on the way home. It's like I'm his wife. He give me a buzz to let me know that he's okay.
I don't know.
Hopefully she's not watching. I honestly think that you could make 300 to 400k out of Galvin this year minimum. I reckon he could be that guy that you see it. Maybe we could see him crack 500 to 600k.
That's hot.
I think I think you said 200 or 300, but I think
I just made it spicy for the pod.
I was gonna say 400k. 400k is 600,000. That's a lot of money.
Let's see how close I get.
A guy I think could get to 600k based off recent form. Kai Pearce-Paul. My love interest from the preseason has finally materialized earlier than what I thought, which is really nice. So I get something right. But he looks really good. I had the poor week the week before. We got 39 in 80 minutes, but got the 43 and the 40 before. He just looks like he's going to hit KP with one of those offloads and put him straight through. It'll only be a matter of time. I think what Jacko Hastings' analysis of the situation was that he's going to be special is true. Looks really good. Dylan Lucas named at 18th man. But even if Dylan Lucas does come into the side, not worried, considering Tyson Frizzell moved to the middle of the park last week and Lucas came on and played on the right edge. But Barry Tui come out and said today that they've picked Brodie Jones because they do want that ball playing middle and they don't want to have Frizzell be that and lose the explosiveness and the ability that he has on the right side. So I think wheels up, lock it in, KPP.
I've made it. I think I'll make that move this week. I think there's a couple of 2RFs that are ready to go, ready to move on. So yeah, it seems like the move this week. At 390k, he could very quickly be 500k and kind of be then questionable as to how much more cash he's going to make. So what about Liam Henry? Mattrix, I think. Sorry, go, Josh.
Before we get to Liam Henry, I think there was some feedback on the live stream that we don't answer comments enough. So trying to make more of a concept to answer them. Ian Johnson says Caesar kicked a few goals last week, end of the game. Has he won the kicking or is Appy just cramping? Appy was dying. He had very bad gastro and he was off. I think he only played 65 minutes. So that's probably why Caesar was kicking. I wouldn't
it's probably the best summary here from Justin is Appy was just worried about shitting himself. Fair call.
Champion. But yeah, I wouldn't be worried about Appy's kicking if you were looking at bringing him in this week. He isn't in our buy, hold and sells, but if you were pick him up, we can't say no, but just wanted to highlight that one before we do jump into probably the best front row forward in the game at the moment.
Yeah, Liam Henry. Mattrix is... I'll give him this one because he was all about front row forward 2 being cheap this year and just ran in with one primo front row forward and just went, you know what, the rest can be spuds. And one of these spuds has turned out to be Liam Henry, who is probably just one of those lock and load guys now that's going to make you some good coin and he's playable every single week, Matty. So go on. Have a little brag.
Well, the Brave. So, yeah, look, like you add a heap of guys on the bench and you hope that it works out. Liam Henry has worked out. Look, I'm obviously not comparing him to Jermaine Hopgood, but
You did say in the group chat, Jesus, that was a big one.
that was spicy. I didn't mean that one to see the light of day. But like it just seems like at the moment everything seems to be going right with some injuries at Penrith. And Liam Henry's security seems really good. He's playing really good when he gets the minutes. Look, there will be a time that we move off Liam Henry, but right now, for the foreseeable future, he could be a play every week for 4 weeks, like for the next 4 weeks, I think. So.
Yeah. When I look at his stats from this year, he has had 42 points in base on average, 1 point in evade, and 1 point in negatives. And that is it. If that isn't meat and potatoes, I don't know what is. That's not even meat and potatoes, I reckon.
The thing is,
That's
like
just
that's fun.
potatoes.
That's fun when you that's fun when you're 230k, but like not when you're 300 and something for like Morgan Smith is. But also like another huge thing for Henry is they've named Laurie, but they've also named Mav Gaia, who's been playing edge in New South Wales Cup. So, you know, Leota doesn't play big minutes. Liam Henry, Lindsay Smith only plays about 40, 45. Like, I think there's good minutes here for Henry. I think he's an absolutely serviceable play. I'd be shocked if he didn't get you like 48 points.
Well, he's played, 34 minutes in game 1, 30 in game 2, 42 in game 3 last week, which I think is probably more realistic than what we're going to see over the next 4 weeks. And Agent Cheese here has said that Liam Henry is the same as when you're told to eat your vegetables. You're not happy, but it's for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah. Just play him. It's not fun. It's not sexy. In saying that, though, round 2, bombed a try. I think there was a kick put through from Cleary, and Aman and I were like erupting, and then he just dumped over the line. So, hey, maybe there is, a little bit of seasoning there with your vegetables with it when it comes to Liam Henry. But
I'll get all my seasoning in other positions, thanks. Not front row forward.
Exactly.
All right, Galvin, KPP, Henry, lock them in. But let's talk about the players we should be holding this week.
This might ruffle some feathers.
It will. Guaranteed it will. Nathan Cleary is in the hold list for round 4. Now, Josh, you might want to take the reins on this one. I'm 100% on board with this. He's staying in my team this week, but fuck, there is no one there that I feel confident replacing him with.
Sorry. You've just given me the most controversial opinion of the podcast. Said, I agree with it, but it's all on you. Can you please explain? No, look, people are, I think they're blowing the timeline out of proportion. Like you're hearing 4 weeks and you think, oh, that's a long time to be out. It's really just 2 weeks because you had the buy and you were never selling for the buy anyway. I think if Mitch Moses didn't go down, I don't think Nathan Cleary is in the hold section. We have a different debate there, but there's no one. I mean, Mitch Moses is probably the next best, and then it was probably Jerome Hughes, and now Moses is out and Hughes is on a buy. I'd rather just hold for a week, assess what Nico does, and then sell Nico if you have to. Or, worst case scenario, you just take an AE in round 5, get a free loop, and it's not the end of the world. Like, it's one position. So, for me, I think Cleary is a fine hold. He isn't the halfback out of him and Hines I'd be selling if you had them. And obviously, we're not selling Hines this week, but we do it probably next week. Or, Jerome Hughes, if you like that sort of flavour in your coffee.
And there was a slim chance, Matty, that maybe Cleary would be back next week. And when I say slim, like 5%, 10% chance that Cleary might line up again next week. I just don't know. What are your thoughts, Matty? Are you selling or holding?
Look, I've toyed with both, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I would have went to Moses. I would have been completely fine with Moses the way that Parramatta have their draw at the moment. But look, the only other guy that I would maybe consider is maybe a Luke Brooks. Dare I say? I know I'm sitting here with a bunch of supporters. Honestly, like he's got a 20 break even.
No, honestly, he was probably man of the match last week and scored 60. That's my issue with Brooks.
I think he scored 45. That's the worst thing. But no, I don't know. Like, I just think that maybe he's somebody that once Galvin dries up, you can move him back down to 5'8" and hold him for a little bit longer because he has looked really good. He has looked like a bit of a catalyst in that offense. He's going to have some really good games. And if there was anyone, it's probably him because I would love a halfback cheapie. I would love to just grind a halfback for 3 weeks, but there's not one. That's the problem.
that's the thing here. Like, I want to highlight Ian's. Like, Ian's obviously a great contributor to everything we do. He's always in the comments. He says, if you're running Hines and Cleary, Hines has the bye next week, so you have no half. And whilst I agree, I don't think Cleary is the one to sell out of the two of them. I think you suck it up with. I think you suck it up with Hines this week. And if you were desperate to sell one of them and not cop the AE, I don't think it's Cleary. I think him post-bye against the Dogs is the place to be, and that's exactly what Cade says. Finally, a podcast saying, hold Cleary, he'll be back against the Dogs. But I'm biting my nails playing Hutchinson. And yeah, look, Hutch, I mean, I've got some good stats about Hutch coming up with sort of the Dogs and what are they called? Rabbits matchup. So Hutch may not be the worst, but I think holding Cleary is absolutely fine. As I do think holding Grant's fine. No, a lot of people are selling Grant to Appy. Sure, I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not the guy that's going to say sell Grant to Appy. That's just me. Nass is back next week, which is a huge inclusion for Grant. Gives him a lot of go forward as well. So I'm not a Grant seller personally. I can see why people do it, and it's not something where I'm saying don't do it. It's just me personally. I'm not that guy.
He based 57 last week against the Knights. Played 80 minutes, based 57. The create just isn't there. So when we look at his stats last year, I think his create was at like 15 points per game. He had 13 try assists last year. So and 9 tries. So we know the attack is going to come, but the Storm's draw to start the season was putrid, and we spoke about that in the preseason.
Yeah, we Mattrix and I discussed this on the podcast on Sunday. Like, I think we projected him at like a 58, 60 for the first 5 weeks, and that's exactly what he's doing. So in our mind, like from the three of us, nothing's changed for us to sell him. It's not like he's pumping at 45. We knew what we were getting ourselves into for the first 5-6 weeks, and it's going as expected. So, I mean, Appy's killing it. I projected Appy at a 70, and he's going well above that. But for me, it's just like nothing's changed on Grant for me. I want Grant and Appy, but it's not via selling Grant first.
I think that the thing with people that are doing that, it's more how good Appy's been more so than how bad Grant is. And I agree with Josh. Like, maybe you would just try and do the other ways. But like, Appy's been good, and he's got that 100 in his rolling average. I don't expect him to score 100 every week. He was phenomenal last week. But realistically, like, giving Appy his props, it's more Appy being a buy than Grant being a sell.
I think
and getting them both.
Yeah, I think from Radio Buckley here to sums it up. Like, Grant and Appy should be the major goal, not Grant or Appy. And I think Grant and Appy are the goal, but it's not via Grant to start with, I think, because you want Grant back in. So why not build towards Appy? Like, why not build yourself a kitty to get Appy rather than having to spend more than one trade that you need to on getting them both in eventually?
For sure. Let's talk Burbo. He is the third on this hold list. Now, obviously, people are probably a little bit of panic stations going on with Ben Trebojevic. I'm holding him. Obviously, the drop-off from 72 to 33 and 19 is why people are panicking. Only 61 minutes last week. A pretty low base. He does rely on attacking stats. But, Mattrix, is there any love for Burbo this week? And are you playing him this week? Because, I mean, they play the Dragons. It's actually quite a nice matchup for Burbo and Turbo and Manly in general.
It is a nice matchup. I'm going to be holding him as it suggests, but I'm not sure I have the confidence in playing him. Just what I've seen the last couple of weeks. Like, I think that first week was phenomenal. I think in the trials he was really great, but he might be in danger of losing his spot the way that he's been the last couple of weeks. And, there's plenty of other guys that can take his spot at Manly. Manly are a really deep team. I just don't. Why is it this week that you have to trade Burbo? He's got a 39 break even. He's a guy that will probably get 40 and cover it, and I'll still be disappointed because I expect more. But yeah, just do it another week.
Yeah, thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm generally quite opinionated, but I generally don't know. 39 break even, it's steep to cover for him, especially in 55, 60 minutes. I have a feeling that he may eventually get dropped for Corey Waddell. The negatives are creeping in. That's a big thing. Like, I would need to pull up NRL SC stats, but I would assume with the smaller fields in Vegas, the fact that everything was a little bit more condensed, he played the game of his life. And so, yeah, let's look at the negatives, because we have 0-0 -4. Evade was down massively from 16-4-2. and then you have obviously scoring. But the base was the concerning thing. So 39 base in 72 minutes doesn't equate to a 21 base in 61 minutes. And I think with a more open game, that base isn't going to be there as well. I'm debating selling it myself. I probably won't because it doesn't allow me to get the cash cow that I really want this week. But I'm not locked into not holding him through because I probably won't be playing him. I know we have heaps of carnage and heaps of people out, but I probably just don't have the confidence to play him, and he will be turfed quickly because I think that 71 has now dropped out of that rolling average. So we're now relying on a 33 and a 19 for a guy that's going to be priced at probably what is he priced at now? 313. So next,
shit.
Yeah.
We're expecting way more from Burbo, I think, initially. But that's exactly the perfect reason as to why you don't really rely too much or bank too much on first round scores. Because we've seen him go massive in round one. Everyone got excited. Everyone bought him. And fair play to you. You probably should have. But then we see a 33 and a 19, and then that cash quickly plummets. So it only takes him really one bad score again to be back under 300K. And that's the concern. We're back where we started with him. So, yeah, it is a question mark.
For me, basically, like for people wondering, like what I'm thinking, it's basically I hold Burbo. I hold Burbo and get Semi-Fainu, or I sell Burbo and miss out on Semi-Fainu, but keeping two decent mid ranges. So for me, that's what I'm looking at. Or I mean, Burbo to Blaze Talangi early isn't out of the question for some people either.
For sure. All right, let us move on to the sells this week. Pretty quick one, this one, which is always good. Tani Tuapiki, he's out concussion this week, and Chance Nickel Klookstart is due back round 5. So there's every chance we're going to see him drop out of the team. CNK comes back in, so he is a sell. Tino, bit of a no-brainer. Done his ACL, done for the year. Move him on if you have him. And Reece Walsh, I mean, how long is Reece Walsh going to be out for? We said, 4 to 6 weeks, I think it was, facial fracture?
Yep.
Yeah, I just can't hold it. Like halfback is not the ceiling as what we thought it was going to be. So you can hold Cleary for a week, but fullback it's still producing massive scores. So I think if you had Cleary and Walsh, like Walsh is the one that has to go because fullbacks this year, even like the non-elite ones, are still doing so much better than the non-elite halfbacks.
Yeah, for sure. So pretty self-explanatory there. I did not do a transition video for the watch list, but anyway, we're going to do it, and it's criminal of me, but we'll work on that for next week.
Very run sheet.
I know. I did all right. But Blaze Talangi is the first on the watch list, and I guess maybe we should preface this by saying what constitutes the watch list. Obviously, someone who isn't on the bubble, or someone who isn't due to rise in price, or someone that you want to have another look at before you buy them. So Blaze Talangi, obviously, this is his second game, Matty, but obviously promising signs there for Blaze. He scored 60 odd in the centres, and now he's been named in the 5'8" jersey for Para this week.
Yeah,
before Mattrix goes on a tangent, I want to know if 5'8's his position as well. He's a natural 5'8". He played with Lockie Galvin through the school system as well. He's a 5'8", not a centre as well. So keep that in mind when you are buying him.
Yeah, look, I think that he's just a guy that I will get in. It doesn't have to be this week. It's so crucial. I don't need to save money anywhere at the moment. I've got nobody in the centres that I'm really at risk of losing a lot of money. Let's just wait a week. I'll get him. Even if he pumps out a 30, I think I'll still probably get him just with how long Moses is out. But keep in mind, there are blokes like RC and stuff that can. We probably expected them to take this spot. So yeah, he can still lose his job even though Mitchell Moses is out. But man, if he plays all right on the weekend, if Parramatta win, I think that he's my first ad next week.
Yeah, the good thing is centre. You're sitting on Jacob Gagai or something and you don't need the cash, you can go straight across to Blaze Talangi and make some cash that we all hoped Gagai would make. Or you can go to a Peaky, hold him a week, and then you can go down to Talangi and free up 100K. So there's some benefits there.
Oh, it's a perfect time for a 80-minute centre wing to come in because to a Peaky, Salmon's probably starting to cap out. Burbo, we've discussed, is starting to shit the bed a little bit. Gagai's been dead since round 1. Like, it's a perfect time now to jump on Blaze, whether it's this week or next week. I can't talk you out of doing it this week because I'm also looking at it myself. So this week or next week, he'll be, probably the most popular purchase next week, I would imagine.
I've got the real question. As a father, who calls their kid Blaze?
No, I was gonna say, like, if you name your kid Blaze, like, he has to be a certified footy gun. Like, that's just a rugby league name, Blaze,
Or a firefighter.
or a
Or a
firefighter.
ranger.
Yeah, firefighter.
Or a redhead.
Yeah. Of course, Mattrix says the redhead. We're talking about genuine occupations, and he comes in with hair color.
Next on the watch list, bit of Tigers biased. You can interchange these two between Fanua Bole or Justin Olam. We've elected to go Justin Olam just off the back of his great game, and we already discussed Fanua Bole at length on Sunday show. Had a 57 base power, priced at 420, available front row forward and 2RF dual, so he's worth looking at. But Justin Olam looks like he's back to his best. Probably just needed the move from Melbourne. Probably was time for him just to, he's probably shutting up shop a bit. He just wanted to change, and I thought he looked really good. Yes, it's hard to put stock in the Tigers, and I said this on Sunday. Braino, I think we need to just calm down, because people quickly forget that we put 60 on the Cowboys, and then 6 weeks later we got 70 put on us. So we just need to chill out a little bit. But Justin Olam, 400 and 23k with a break even of sub 0. I think it's -3. Yeah, I mean, if Olam's running hard and he's linking up well with the halves, then a little stack with him and Galvin could be tasty. I think it's him and Galvin.
Don't mind it.
You don't play the Sharks every week, so.
Well, it's just confirmed because the Sharks only beat up on bottom 8 teams. So,
yeah, I guess we're a top 8 team then. Anyway, that's a discussion for
You
another
are
day.
at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we're 9th, which is exactly where we deserve to be.
17 teams, we cannot be a top 8 team, and we could not be a bottom 8 team as well. We could just be back to the rugby league neutral, which is, the world is good when the Tigers are 9th. Everything is right in the world.
Yep, I agree. Let's I want to skip the next one because this one's yours, Josh. But I'd love to hear from the resident Bronco, Xavier Willison, because obviously with Payne Haas out, there seems to be some extra minutes there for Willison. We know he's a PPM beast. He played 42 minutes and scored 51 on the weekend, which is massive, and kind of what we expected for him if he gets the minutes. Now, do we see him getting 42 minutes again every single week while Haas is out?
Yeah. Like, what else was going right for them? Willison was one of those blokes that come in and got the go forward, I suppose, against Penrith. People think that I hate Willison because I didn't think that he was a play at the start of the year. I just thought that maybe he would move into this 35-minute role through the middle of the year with all the forwards that we had. But yeah, injury provides, and I think he'll be there all year. So I definitely think Willison is a buy. He's great. He's sensational.
The question with Willison is, if you're like me and maybe some others as well, if you have Hughes and Lenu sitting on your spine, I wouldn't be selling Lenu. I'd be selling Hughes, because I think Lenu is your route to Curran in round 6 when you're moving him up, because you don't want to sell Lenu and then have a bench of or a front row forward of me, for example, May, Henry, Willison, Hughes, because then you're like, well, how do I get Curran up? And you have to trade out Hughes. And if he has a great game in round 5, you've got that cash in happening. So for me, I'd rather cut ties with Hughes now. If you're going to go Willison, I'd probably end up doing that next week as well. I also didn't realize how well he scored last week. 35 in base, 18 in evade, -2 in negatives, which is fine for a kid on debut, or not bad debut, but you know what I mean. First game of the year. And yeah, 42 minutes is huge. Even if that's down to 38. Willison still had the top PPM in all the comp last year with a 1.52. That was better than guys like Royce Hunt, better than guys like Terrell May, who are renowned of having amazing PPMs. I'm just scrolling back through the Instagram page trying to find the exact PPMs, but I know he topped it last year for all qualifying players with a 1.52, which is absurd. So he's beating out guys like Luca Moretti with a 1.47, Tom Hazelton with a 1.41, and Royce Hunt and Terrell May, guys that we have as staples, with 1.27, 1.31. He was up there with a 1.53. So minutes for him are no concern. He's a big body, gets through work. Even 35 minutes, I think he could be averaging 42, 43.
Yep. I like him as probably the next option in front row forward, just because it's such a shit position at the moment. I think if you're looking for someone as a playable, you could play him every week, I think, and I'd feel comfortable playing him. All
right, if you don't own Terrell May, is there a world where you just roll out Henry and X?
Yes.
Until round 6 when Curran gets up there.
I reserve judgment to not comment because
No,
it'll
don't be
used against
offensive.
me.
You know I hate it. You know I hate it.
No, honestly, that's all you need. Like, why are we?
If you can get
wasting
90,
trades
if
at
you
front
can
row
get 90
forward?
points if you can get 90 points out of Henry and Wilson, like I'd take that to the bank.
Realistically, like Terrell May, how much more is he going to score than Willison? I'm on board with this. Like, how he's going to get what? Let's just say best case scenario, we get 60.
Join us.
He gets 60, right? So Willison gets 50. But there's a 200K, 230K price difference between them. So that's technically based on starting prices, 23 points. So ideally, Terrell May needs to be 23 points better than Xavier Willison to be able to get you cash in terms of value, be able to get value for your money. So if you're looking to spend up elsewhere, I don't mind it. I think it kind of probably makes sense, doesn't it?
And the 44 in Terrell May's rolling average now from last week is just not going to help that cash gen. Like, it'll still be fine, but it's not going to be like he's going to get to 600K in a matter of 3 weeks. Like, that 44 will stunt it a little bit. So yeah, if he has like another mid 50 score this week, he's still great. Like, he's still, amazing, but it's not like he's going to be 620, 630K. So you could definitely run Henry and X. I don't hate that at all until round 6 when Curran gets his duel.
Yep. Let's talk about Connor Watson. Interesting one on the watch list, but you popped this in the chat. And
You weren't a fan.
I understand the logic. I'm not a huge fan of Connor Watson coming off the bench, but your logic is there, so you can run with this one.
I don't know. Sanders Smith's now out, so that 14 is now pretty much locked in for Watson. We know that Cheese doesn't play huge minutes. He scored as priced last week in his first game, so he scored 53. I think he had the try, take that out, 35 or whatever it is. Priced at a 37, break even of 18. Definitely one to watch. He's not going to get out of your way, but does have a handy duel. Does have that 2RF hooker duel, which I think is really, really handy. Having just a guy that if you have in your team, and if Grant goes down, Appy goes down, Lussick just gets dropped, like, you've got cover there to move him up. Like, he's not a priority buy this week, but he's definitely a guy that I'm watching closely because I think he looked really good in his first game back to NRL in a year and a half and has been killing it in Cup. I think the minutes will slowly increase. And yeah, I mean, also just a pure vibes pick. I mean, what a sexy man.
Mattrix, anything to add?
I hate it. I don't know. Like, I just.
No, see, I like that. I'd rather you say you hate it than go, oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to. But, like, yeah, it was one game. He's coming off the bench. I probably, need to see a lot more or a better rotation where Cheese goes to that middle for a lot longer and he comes in at hooker. And Connor Watson is somebody I would love to see play more. I just don't know if it's going to happen in the next 8 weeks.
He played 52 minutes on the weekend, so good minutes. I think the production will increase, but also I think Jodie Hargraves just played monster minutes because they were winning and it was his landmark game. Also very devastated he didn't get the goal kick at the end when they were up by 1 million. Wanted to see that happen. But I think JWH probably loses some minutes, and if Watson can pump out 55 and increase that base ever so slightly, PPM of 1.02, but was inflated with the try at a 53. So take that down to a 13, which is 40 minus 4 more, so 36. If we can get that up to, say, 42 in base with the attacking threat that he has playing through the middle, I think there's definitely some love there. If he didn't have the hooker duel, we're not having this discussion. But yeah, I think
is there enough minutes there for him if they're bringing in who was it? Brodie Jones through the middle of the field. Obviously, that's a new inclusion to the bench now, and how that forward rotation would look. Do you think the minutes are still there for him, considering that?
Sorry, Brodie Jones as of the Knights.
Connor Watson plays for the Roosters. Yeah,
I was like, what's Brodie Jones? Was there more TLT?
Actually, you know what? I'm probably just going to have to jump on fucking Connor Watson as an apology now, just to throw him on my team.
I was like, we've had
cool. Okay, I'll fix this. I've done a great job.
You just booted him? Yeah, sweet.
I just set him for 10 in the bin.
Love that. He's
can I come back?
Yeah, can we switch back? Yeah, we need. There we go. One more.
For fuck's sake, Mattrix is taking the piss out of me now.
There we go.
It's all right. It's all for entertainment. Yeah. Max Plath.
Let's move off Connor Watson because that was way longer than I wanted to be. Max Plath. Now, shut up. Max Plath, 270K, break even of minus 16, has been named at lock again. I don't know what's happening with Raystone. I would have to double check on this. But the problem with Max Plath is he has so much appeal in round 6 when he gets that duel and he moves up to 2RF. But is he better than Galvin at 70k less? That's my dilemma. Unless you started with Galvin and you're just like, I don't want Dylan Brown, then I can get behind it. But I'm not picking him over Galvin.
That's
You can't,
basically. Yeah, no, that's the only reason I sit there. Like, he's just not better than Galvin. He's great. He's just not better than Galvin. Is that where you were going, Braino?
Yeah. It just minus 60 odd break even versus what's Max Plath's break even this week?
Minus
20?
No, yeah, minus 16.
I mean,
He's also 17 more.
And also Raystone on the bench just kind of scares me off a little bit. Like, I don't know what that looks like. Obviously, Raystone started at 13 before he ended up being injured and missing time. So, yeah, there's just too many question marks. But Plath, awesome player. Like, if Raystone wasn't on the bench, I'd be all in on that. But the fact he's only 5'8", he's 5'8" only for now. So you may as well just wait until he gets the duel and then he becomes a consideration. If he keeps that role, of course.
Yeah, I think
Raymond Veiga, or as Josh in the chat like to call him Bags, so which is that we've just kept.
Apple just changed it to Bags, and we were like, all right, V Bags it is. So yeah, Raymond Veiga. Not much more to say here apart from being the left winger at Manly is not a bad spot to be.
Yeah, can't argue with it. There's really, I mean, I don't see many people buying him this week, but definitely definitely a watch. I guess with Tommy Talau being in the reserves as well is another question mark on him.
Yeah.
Does he hold that spot? Does he drop out for Tommy Talau if he's fit? Fuck, who knows? Nobody knows the answer.
Really gross price as well, like 334k. You'd much rather that be like 270, a similar price to Talau. I think him getting hurt was the worst thing to happen to us because we had a way to get off Gagai for 60k more.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, let's move on to the games and the team lists very quickly. We'll move through these pretty quick. Thursday, 8 p.m, we've got the Roosters versus the Panthers at Allianz Stadium. Cleary's obviously out. We've talked about him a lot. Replaced by Brad Schneider. Sorensen's out. Replaced by Garner. I just want to mention that Isaiah Yeo, he is in. He is playing. And we've got Maverick Geyer on the bench as well. Anything there that we want to mention for the Panthers? Ideally not overly Supercoach relevant, but I just want to say, like, just because Cleary's out doesn't necessarily mean that these guys are going to concede a ton of points and they're going to be shit. No. Their system does not allow that to happen.
I've seen people that are like, oh, well, Dom Young's a slam dunk buy now. And like, if you weren't buying Dom Young before the Cleary news, I wouldn't be buying him after the Cleary news. I don't think this changed anything defensively for them. But obviously the massive talking point is Isaiah Yeo, who was never in doubt, is not in doubt, and he plays. So great for him. Terrell May starts, Dom Young. Thoughts? Like I said, if Dom Young was in your plan Sunday night, lock and load, wheels up. But if you weren't looking at Dom Young, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, now I have to pick him.
No.
Why?
Go Mattrix.
No, just don't. Like, honestly, like, the Panthers don't get worse defensively because Cleary's out. Like, it'll be in attack where they get a little bit stifled. And, Cleary organises and Cleary's great, but yeah, look, exactly what Josh said. Don't bring Dom Young in if you weren't planning on doing it before. Can I mention that Brad Schneider, bring him in draft, just for a little bit of halfback coverage? So,
Cade wants to know with Scott Sorensen out, does the benchman Henry get more minutes? I think we covered this in the injuries. That I think with Mav Geyer being a predominantly edge player, I think more load goes on to Eisenhuth and Henry. Ivan Cleary doesn't play young kids massive minutes. I know that Henry's also like on his 4th NRL game, but his hands sort of been forced a little bit here. I would expect Liam Martin to probably play 80. He normally doesn't, but his hand might be forced and just, hey, you need to grit this out for us. Or Luke Garner, one of the two. I think one of them plays 80. And Sorensen out is huge for Henry.
Yep, I agree. I was tossing up between Dom Young and another player that we'll talk about soon. And I think I'm probably going to go with that other player. So we'll touch on that. But Friday, 4 p.m, we've got the Good Friday game, Rabbitohs and the Bulldogs at Accor Stadium. Damien Cook miraculously has found a start again. There's a little 1-week play. Might have just been a tactical play against the opposition there to start Cook on the bench in a pretty fiery game. So he's back starting. No bench hooker.
It worked well.
Which is positive too. Didn't work well at all.
Worked well. It worked heaps well. If you're a Tedesco or Dom Young owner.
Just tore him up through the middle of the park.
Yeah, and Havili is following the trend of Shaq Mitchell of not playing to starting to not playing. So shout out to Havili and the 2,500 people that bought him in last week, I think. And the Dogs as winning 1,000,000-0 in a shutout. They are 1-17.
Yeah, not much else to talk about there. Friday, 8 p.m, we've got the Broncos and the Cowboys, little Queensland derby at Suncorp. Mattrix, this is usually a game you'd go to.
Yeah, I think I probably will. We have tickets. I'm probably going to find myself to the game. And yeah, look, the Cowboys and the Broncos is electric, can I say. There's not a lot of hate between the two teams, but it's just a great time. I think that Braino back is a massive in for our chances to win and for the Supercoach scores of some of these blokes.
What are your thoughts on Corey Oates off the bench? Because I'm still trying to understand what kind of role he plays. Does he come in and play edge now? I know he wanted to be an edge back role for a while there, and Wayne wasn't a big fan.
Yeah, that was about 4 years ago, but maybe. I don't really know what the plans are, but when everything went to shit last week, when we had to reshuffle and we had to put our second rowers into the centers, it just didn't really work out. So, hey, you know what? We've got coverage for that now. Maybe it means a bump for some of these other guys. Maybe it means bigger forward minutes. Maybe it's just coverage because Corey Oates has been a stalwart of the team. He's taken a few pay cuts to be with us still. Look, yeah, I don't think that he's going to play. He has to play edge minutes. We're not going to bench any of these other guys.
You know, it's very niche, but in the NFL, backup quarterbacks getting paid a lot of money because of how, viable they are if their main quarterback goes down. I think we see a trend in the future of oversized backs and undersized forwards who can tackle start to get paid quite well because we've seen in the first 3 weeks teams just fall to shit when an outside back goes down, and you don't necessarily want to name a utility and a back on the same bench. So guys like Corey Oates, who are big backs, probably can fill a job in the middle, might start to get,
Talakai.
Good, Talakai, good roster spots as well, that, fill in as well. But I wouldn't be also surprised to see him just drop out and, Mari Tapau or probably not Tekora come in. It's probably Tapau that comes in, and that's his only threat. But yeah, weird bench, great for Willison, great for Kobe.
Tapau has been
terrible.
Bad. Yeah, really bad this year.
2018.
Oh, he's had some good moments for the. He's a grub, but he's had some good moments for the Broncos and Manly. But yeah, look, I'm just not 100% sure he's the answer either. I think they would try Corey Oates in the second row, because he's in favour. He's going all right. He kind of lost his spot towards the end of last year because of how good Jesse Arthurs was. But yeah, I don't know. I think that they'll try Corey Oates. I don't think he'll drop out of this.
For the Cowboys, Zach Laybutt is in, and that's about it. Finya Fuyaki only played about 60 minutes with Gasecki. 52 minutes, but he had the HIA, so not too sure what we can take into that. I wasn't impressed with the base. I wasn't impressed with the work rate. Scored a try, which is nice, but he only scored one try and cut beforehand, so don't bank on that. Don't listen to he has upside narrative because he has only scored one try in reserve grade. Saturday, 3:30 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. Sorry. Dragons versus Eagles at Win. Molo prop, JDB benched. Little is named, and Jaden Sewer's named on the edge, despite there was reports of him being out for up to 8 weeks. So, not too sure what's happening with some cross wires between teams in the media or physio departments, but Dragons have no value towards me. For the Manly Seagulls, Burbo survives, no Schuster, and Tommy Talau in reserves, which only really affects Vega, or V-Bags, as he's now known.
One of the great nicknames. That's going to stick all year too. Enjoy that.
And the only threat to changes here on game day for me would Supercoach threats would be Burbo out for Waddell, but that's really it.
Yeah, that's it. Not much going on there, so we can move on. Saturday, 7:30. Titans and the Dolphins at Seabus. Now, Jaden Campbell is back. Keanu Keeney, gone, done, finished. Jamin Jolliffe obviously replaces Tino at lock. We've got Aaron Clark on the bench, though, which is an interesting one. He's a close watch for me because I feel like maybe there might be a late swap with Aaron Clark starting at lock and Jolliffe off the bench. But in saying that, Jolliffe was good last week too. So interesting to see how that plays out.
On Sunday about who the big benefiter was from the 10 on news, and I put forward Aaron Clark. I still think off the bench he'll play decent minutes, and he's at a good price. I think he's sub 400k, so definitely worth a look there. And obviously, big D Fifi on the bench. So for Fido, if he's back, the Titans might go from $3.50 chances for the spoon to $4. He might, shift the market ever so slightly. So yeah. For the Titans, Max Platt starts at lock. Miso at fullback, ready to explode? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Jack Bostock a buy? Question mark. And the Dolphins are just 1 to 17.
I mean, we've talked about Plath, but my other person that I'm tossing up to bring in at centre wing this week is Hamiso.
Fraud.
Yeah. I didn't start the season with him because I wasn't 100% sure, but and again, I'm still not 100% sure. I don't know whether I'm going to go with it or not, but the one thing deterring me is the fact that just Hammer's upside just isn't there. Like, when I talk upside, I'm talking...
Yeah. It's there, but it's there from the 75th minute to the 80th minute. That's what you're waiting for.
He is the highest scorer in Supercoach history in the final 7 minutes of a game. There's no doubt in my mind. And so the issue for me is that he's only scored 100 score in the last 2 seasons. So, I mean, are we banking on him averaging 65 and getting anywhere between 70 to 90 every single week? And if that happens, I mean, great, you're happy. But he's very capable of getting a 30.
Isn't it funny the narratives about like Latrell Mitchell being the laziest fullback in the league? Like, Hamiso has to be up there. Like, I know Hamiso is much better on the defensive end of the ball, especially chasing kicks in the in goal. But like, he also doesn't really inject himself into games as much as you'd like.
He does not. Jack Bostock, Mattrix. Any love for him? Is he a buy minus 20 odd break even this week? Kind of seems like a decent option.
So, sorry, I know that I ducked out for a little bit. The Titans have been, for me, the biggest disappointment this year. They don't even look like winning a game, and Tino being out just makes that absolutely worse. Bostock is somebody I've got... full disclosure, I've already got Hammer. I'm not sure that I would be bringing him in this week. I don't know. Like, I got him weeks ago knowing that the draw was great. The draw is still great. I'm just not sure it's worth a trade to bring him in. But Bostock is someone I can get around with this. He's gone well in the last couple games. I think he needs to score a try. I'm not sure if he's a play, but I think that he'll make some money over the next few weeks. But just know that you bring in Bostock planning to trade him out in a few weeks and hopefully make, 100K? 150?
Can we trust the Dolphins, though? Like, this is the thing. Like, yeah, they won well last week. The week before last, they got throttled in round 1. It's like, can we trust them? This
week, it's not about the Dolphins. It's about how bad the Titans are. These guys are awful. And Jaden Campbell coming into your team is not going to fix you.
I don't know. I look at number 7, T-Boyd, and I'm just like, what is doing? Like, what is happening here? And like Chris Randall at 9, it's just like far out. Like, what is Des doing?
Yeah, he's in dire straits, isn't he? Or Des struggling a bit.
But he doesn't have a great pool to pick from. Like, I don't know if it's Dez's fault.
I don't know if it's Justin Holbrook's fault.
No, it's not. He's a scapegoat for the Gold Coast Titans being a terrible franchise.
All right, let's move on. We've got Sunday 4 p.m, the Warriors and the Knights at Go Media Stadium in Auckland. We've got RTS at fullback, which is the big talking point here. For anybody who has RTS in their team, I tell you what, this guy might feature in the captain's chat very soon.
I reckon RTS this year is PPMing about 5 when you go back. Because like he went there for like about 15 minutes when Tua Piki was out in round 1, had a try assist, a line break assist, and a line break, and then went there last week, scored a try. I reckon he's like PPM is like through the roof when he's playing fullback this year.
Yeah, the run meters are there. Let's see how he goes.
Definitely features in the captain's goal.
KPP on the edge, obviously. We talked about Lucas Cartwright not being on the bench, which is great for him. Obviously played 80 minutes last week. Plenty of positives there. Jackson Hastings in the reserves, which is a bit... it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, whether he ends up backflipping, I should say. 6
tries this last week in Cup for Jacko.
Huge. Yeah, just a casual little Sunday for him. Let's move on. Sunday, 6 p.m. We've got the Sharks and the Raiders at PointsBet. The Sharks have nearly every forward in the whole bloody squad out. So Talakai moves to edge. Kale Iro to centre. We obviously want to warn people for people that don't usually pay too much attention that Kale Iro probably won't be there for too long. So try not to get caught in that trap.
Probably gets a week.
Unfortunately, as much as we'd love to see him get an extended run, he just probably
obviously
won't.
I guess for anyone that's not in the know, Britton Nicola will come back from suspension next week. He walks into the team, and it would take a howler from Wilton or a suspension for him to lose his spot, and then Talaka will just go back to the centres because he's been probably one of their best players. I mean, we love Kale Iro. We were spruiking him all preseason, but it's probably not Kale Iro season.
No, let's move. Oh, Raiders are 1-17s. Not really much to talk about there. So we can move on to Monday, 4 p.m. Eels Tigers at Combank. We've got Mitchell Moses out, Brown to 7, Talangi to 6. No Brendan Hands on the bench, which is great for Joey Lussick for the second week in a row. Cardi has been named, but obviously you got Kel Matualangi on the bench there as well. So plenty of cover for him if Cardi gets punted at the last minute. For the Tigers, for Tape, he holds at centre. Not a bad option that we can start to look at as a bit of a downgrade in centre wing, Josh. Any love there for Tape?
I mean, the big competition for Atape was Brett Naden and Asuka Pa. Now, Asuka Pa has been named on the bench, and Brett Naden's been named at fullback in Cup. So I think it's wheels up for Atape. Does have a break-even of 0, so he's not going to get out of control. And he's scoring 20s. Like, he's a young kid. Like, he'll have good scores, but he's not a guy that I'm racing out to get. Like, I'm happy to pick him up at 250k if he looks half good. Like, I'll lose 50k.
Roll without me for a bit.
Yeah, fine. We'll lose 50k on the cash gen for him, but he's not a guy I'm running out to get, but he's a guy that could definitely feature. For the what are they called? The Eels. Cardi's been named despite that rib concern. We also do have no Hands on the bench, which is nice to see him back up. But anything you want to add to this one, Mattrix?
Look, maybe just the Finu chat.
Like, let's chat
always a front row forward there, but it's probably more. I want to chat about the Tigers probably more than the Eels for once.
Yeah, I think it's wheels up. I think it's wheels up for Tape. I've just clicked on the wrong link and it's taking me to the Tigers website, not the game. The bench is good. The bench is good for Tape. They've got Asuka Power, who's a centre/edge. Jaden Sullivan, who's a 14. Alex Seyfarth, who was hooked after 17 minutes in round 1 for not a great game, but did play well, and he played 30-odd minutes or so last week. And Fanu played 50 minutes and then 42 minutes. So good minutes for him. I mean, you've got Bateman and Papali'i. They will play 80 minutes apiece. But then you've got, Appy, he'll probably play 80 if he's not dying from gastro.
Yeah.
Stefano and Clemmer, Stefano can probably punch out 55 if he has to, but I wouldn't be backing Clemmer to be playing massive minutes. So I think there is good minutes.
A bit ordinary, really.
Yeah, I think he's just past it. He's old. He's been playing since he was a teenager in the front row. I think it's just like a Jason Tamalolo effect where he will, eventually not phase out of the game, but the game is obviously going past him. But Fa'a Tape has a great break even this week. I'll pull it up. So his break even is the second best behind Lockie Galvin. It's a -32. I was looking today, if you project him to score 40s every week, he will get to, so looking at the Supercoach projections, if he scores 40 every week between now and round 14, he'll go up to 430k. So you're going to make a pretty hefty penny, nearly 200k on him. And I think 40 is definitely reasonable. Base was slightly down last week. Only scored a 33 in 54 minutes. Sorry, in 46 minutes, and that was up from 58 minutes the week before. But that was when we had a couple of injuries. But I think with this bench, he could be pushing 55 minutes and score 45 points, and I think he could be a great play. I'd prefer to play him over Burbo.
Yeah, look, and I wish I had for Tape instead of Burbo, but you can't bring him in now. What are we gonna do? But
What do you mean? You can bring Fa'a Tape in?
I don't know if it's worth it. I'm not 100% sure it's worth a trade.
Would you sell Salmon for Tape? You're banking 100k and you're getting a -32 break even.
I mean,
he projected.
I would, but if your team's anything like ours at the moment, you've got bigger you've got bigger fish to fry than a Salmon and a Burbo. That's where I sit.
See, I don't. My team's not great, but I don't have many fires. I've got Gagai, Burbo and Statili or Smithies. Like that's the huge issue, like the pressing issues for me. Like I'm looking at him, and I said this before in my trade plans. Like it's either I skip on Fainu, and that means skipping on a potentially 170k cash cow. Sorry, we're not talking about Fatape. We're talking about Fainu. We're talking about Samuel Fainu, the 2RF for 263k with a minus 32 break even. Like I don't think 40 is out of the question, and he's going to grow into the role. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at 430k and just like, man, that's nearly 200k price rise that we can get for having a guy sit there. It just means elevating Joe Chan to like your 2RF5, which isn't ideal.
Yep. No. Yeah, look, I suppose it's not. When we have a look at the Eels, do you think like Blaze Talagi is there till Moses comes back, or do you think RC or someone can take it back?
Barring a shitter and barring like, what are they called? Parramatta falling apart. I think so. I mean, I don't really see a world why they'd pick him after a great game last week just to drop him. But in saying that, I think the draw is okay. I think it opens up quite well. Obviously play the Tigers this week. Then we move into the Raiders, Cowboys, Dolphins, Manly, and then a bye. I think he gets the bye at the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Braino, we are talking about Blaze, the firefighter Talagi. And if we think he has a positional hold based off a great game last week and him playing six as a natural position. Because I think like Dejan Arcee's been given plenty of chances. He's looked okay. He's never really like solidified a spot.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about what Dejan Arcee has done, the mustard, over the last few years, realistically, like he's played a lot of centre as well as 6 and 7 and been a bit of a no hat. Sorry, I left my hat out there. I've got a very sick kid out there. It's the first time ever my missus has knocked on the door while I've been podcasting, so had to run. But yeah,
number 2.
Yeah, no, not quite. Never had to do that during a podcast, actually. Yeah, no, I think he's good. I think he's solidified his spot there. For the short term, anyway.
We were chatting Sammy Fainu because the bench is great. You picked Asuka Power and Sullivan. Supercoach have projected him like if he scores 40 between now and round 16, or sorry, round 40 between now and round 18, he goes up to 434k.
Good cash. Can't complain with that. I mean,
minus 34 break even. I think he's a great option. Mattrix isn't as keen.
I'm not as keen either, if I'm completely honest. I just maybe it's this kind of initial thought of bench players not ideally being amazing for cash gen, but I mean maybe it's
how's Henry looking? How's Josh Curran looking?
The first game he played 58 minutes for 75, which is great, but he also had 20 points in scoring, and then you've got 33 points in 46 minutes last week. Like, do we see him getting more than 50 minutes per game? Is 33 the norm?
Well, I was saying this. Also, the Tigers are in 9th, by the way. I just quickly had a look. We are in 9th, which is lovely. I think Stefano can push 55. I don't think Clemmer's getting any more minutes than what he's getting now. Like, he's not getting any younger. The Edges will play 80. Finua Bole probably play decent minutes. But then you've got Sullivan and Kapoa. Like, Kapoa will drop out for 12. But, like, Sammy Fainu, I think he just develops into this role better. I think over time, he will slowly build into the role. And it's like, if we project him at 40, we're making 180k. That's hard to turn down, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I've got the decision of whether I get KPP this week or Fainu. I mean, maybe Fainu next week is the play. I know he's going to make some cash this week. I'm just not sure.
Don't you think with KPP you can get cash and points?
I'm getting KPP. Like, I guess I'm more passionate because I'm just like I'm struggling with this myself. It's like, do I get Fainu or do I get Blaze Langi a week early? And if I get Blaze Langi a week early, it means holding 2 better options. So I watched RC highlight package today to get a vibe, and one of them was taking a tackle. I don't understand this. Please explain the joke to me.
I'm assuming that Timmy means he's not impressed with what he saw from Dejan Arcee.
That's fine.
Anyway,
I don't know. Fainu's interesting, and we'll probably have more discussion in the Discord. Another plug to join it. So we'll chat Fainu. I like him. The other 2 boys don't.
Yep. That's to be fair, that's fair. Let's move on to the captains and the vice captain loops, I guess, options for this week.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can see 3 maybe viable or maybe 2 decent VC loop options this week. 1 questionable one, and not really many others. I guess the 2 standouts for me are Latrell and Turbo. So Latrell against the Bulldogs, Turbo against the Dragons. That obviously being in the same position, and then obviously with Tedesco being in the form that he's been in, he becomes, I guess, an option to look at in the first game of the week against the Panthers, but not ideal. That's not my preference. What are your thoughts on this one, Matty, before we throw to Josh? Because, I mean, Latrell, for me, his last 3 against the Bulldogs being 146, 136 and 74, all at Accor Stadium, is a big kind of standout for me.
Yeah, look, that's huge. I only have one of these 3 players, so I already know my answer, but I think that if I had to choose out of these 3 players, it probably would be... No, it's not going to be Trell even then. I just hate the Bulldogs. Turbo. But yeah, no, it's still going to be Turbo. Turbo's the only guy that I've got out of these 3 guys, and it's going to be Turbo for me. The Dragons haven't impressed. I know they had that one good game, and they had a good 15 minutes on the weekend. But Turbo will be able to rip these guys to shreds, I think. I really struggle with captaining anyone against the Panthers. I don't think I've ever done it, and I don't think I ever will. And yeah, look, I didn't bring Latrell in because I've struggled with him this year, but the stats tell me that Latrell versus the Bulldogs should score very well.
A fair bit of chat in the comments about Val Holmes potentially being a VC option as well this week. Josh, I know you've had to dig very deep into the archives to find the last game that Turbo played against the Dragons.
Mate, it took me a good half an hour. I'm sitting there scrolling through like the last 5 years, and I'm like, where is this? But his last game was over 1,700 days ago, and in that game did what Turbo does best, got 167. But yeah, 1,749 days since Tom Trbojevic took on the Dragons, which was round 14, 2019. He finished on 167 points as Manly ran out 30-14 winners. Dragons have been okay defending fullbacks this year. I think they rank at 8th. But it's Turbo. Like, it's hard to use average scores when you talk about Walsh, Turbo, Trell, Teddy, like these elite guys, because they're just not average. Like, they're just so much better. So yeah, I mean, that's great. In 2023, the Dragons ranked 5th for fullbacks. And we don't have a huge sample size this year, but they did concede 105 to Drinkwater and 94 to Hamiso. I'm not going to count round 1 because they pitched a shutout, and I just don't see that happening against Manly. Trell against the Bulldogs, as you said, 146, 136, 74. There's points in this. The last 3 games the Dogs have played against, what are they called? The Bunnies. 32-36, that was with no Trell. They went down, but still put up 32 points with no Trell. The infamous 50-16 game where the Bunnies thump them. And then 28-36. So there's points in this. There is definitely points in this game. So it's really hard to pass up Trell. He has the goal kicking. In saying that, though, the Dogs just pitched a shutout. So it's like, what do we do? And then obviously, yeah, Teddy versus the Panthers. It's just I can't take any game of Teddy. But moving into captains, I've got a couple. They got no forwards, which is really hard for me to tip Hines. But last year, around 27, scored 127 points against the Raiders. That was with Braden Trindle. So the points are there, but there's no middles. And the last time he played the Raiders was a 72-pointer affair in round 1 of 2022. Worth noting, that was his very first game at 7 at the Sharks. So the main one there is 127 points in round 27 last year, and that was with Trindle in the side. We have to dive very deep here, boys. I've gone back to 2016 to get these stats. RTS at fullback versus Newcastle. 83 points at Central Coast, 123 in New Zealand. A couple of 40s dished up at McDonald Jones, a 50 dished up at Mount Smart, a 90 at Mount Smart, a couple of 70s at Mount Smart, and then a 60 at McDonald Jones. But I think he's a much better player now. I think the Warriors are a much better team. It's very hard to use those Warrior stats because they were not a good side. But he's gone 100 plus before in New Zealand, and I think he's a better player now.
Did RTS play fullback at the Roosters when he was there, or was he primarily on the wing?
I stopped looking past 2015. I was done.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we have to look back like 8 years, if we have to look back 8 years, it's probably not too relevant.
NRL SC Stats stops giving you player profiles past 2016.
Yeah. Some feedback for them. We need archives. We need 2012. We need 2005 stats, grand final 2005 stats, and we're sweet.
I think there's a park in Sydney where somebody engraved RTS's scores under a bridge somewhere.
Mattrix, I'll throw to you because you've got an interesting captain's choice that could be a pretty risky one, but obviously the matchup is there, and I might be bringing this guy in as well.
Yeah, I don't know how risky it is.
Very.
Look, the Dolphins haven't been great this year. I just think when I've watched the Titans play, I don't know if I've ever seen a worse football team than them at the moment. And
I
they've
don't
just
know,
lost.
man. There was some pretty crappy Knights teams in like 2012, and the Titans. Remember the Titans went through that spell of like 20. It was like the Jai Arrow season. It was like 2016 to 2018 where the Titans were dreadful.
Yeah, I mean, like, take Tino out of, like, they've been awful, and then take Tino out of them. I don't know. I just think their outside backs are going to have an absolute clinic against them.
Does it change
well
if Feeder's named? Do you get cold feet if David Feeder's named, or does it change anything for you?
Not for Hammer, no.
I just thought I'd ask.
I'm talking about Captain Hammer, of course. Sloan put 100 on the Titans, and like Sloan's a similar player to Hammer, I think. And even Blake Taft scored 64 against the Titans this year. I don't know. It's more
with Hammer
betting on the Titans being bad than the Dolphins being good.
The only reason I struggle with Hammer is because of how low the floor is, but also how shit the ceiling is. It's not like he has 180 in him, but he's also got 20 where you'd risk it. It's like if Hammer goes terrible, he gets a 15. If Hammer goes amazing, he gets 110, 120.
Yeah.
That's my only concern with him.
I haven't captained anyone that scored about a 60 yet.
Leave Henry, lock it in.
Yeah,
I got my first captaincy score over 50 last week, so I'm on the rise. Let's hope that somebody can beat that for me. Braino,
Cade Burgess, he's done some digging. RTS scored 119 in 2015 against the Knights as the Roosters fullback.
There we go. This is
why. What a champion.
We love that.
If Cade doesn't have an Insight Unlimited subscription, I'm gonna make sure you have one after that. So, what a champion for getting that data.
Elite stats.
Shoot us the message.
I currently have my VC on Latrell and my C on RTS at this point in time, and I tell you what, that has very much helped my feeling about having captain on RTS this week.
Yeah, I've gone VC Trell into C RTS as well. Just there's no captains. I mean, I am looking at Hines, but it's like I wish they had their forward pack because I don't know if I can trust Billy Burns. Just to lay a platform.
I like Billy Burns. I rate Billy Burns.
Yeah, that's some serious shade at Billy Burns there. Poor Billy Burns.
No,
what's he done to you?
Yeah.
Rough.
I tell you what, Albert Hopewadi got some Billy Burns this week. So
could Garrick be a sleeper captain? Absolutely. Garrick versus the Dragons could be, lock and load as well. If you don't own Turbo, I don't mind getting a piece of the Garrick pie. I'm just trying to keep this on track. Get slandered too hard. All right. Inside Games, our favorite part of the pod. And boys, I'm going to spring a surprise on you because we're not going to do the usual guess the player or trivia.
Thanks, G.
Oh, yeah. I said this to Braino today. I want to spring something on you. I want you guys to name these 5 players in a blind ranking in terms of Supercoach options. And you and Braino can work as a team, Mattrix. It's not an individual thing. I want you to work as a team. The first player, Liam Henry.
Do we want to? So 1 to 5, right? We've got to pick. Okay.
And you don't know what to name some stinkers. I can name some studs.
I think Liam Henry surely needs to be at the bottom of this list or close to it. Maybe like 4. Like he's going to name a stinker. There's a guarantee he's going to name a shit player.
Yeah, I think it's got to be 4. Yeah, I'm with you on 4.
All right, Liam Henry 4.
Dean Mariner.
He weighed us $175 last week, Dean Mariner. What a player.
Yeah, thank you.
Does he bump him up to 3? Do you reckon Dean Mariner's at 3 because of that?
Yeah, I reckon he's 3. Like, not all heroes wear capes. Some wear Broncos jerseys. So, yeah, 3.
Scott Drinkwater.
Oh, got to be 1 or 2. But it just depends. Do you think there's another good player coming in this list?
I mean, like, I'm going to go with 1 on Drinky.
I feel like we're going to regret that, but let's go with it. Drinkwater. So Ian Johnson said Drinkwater 2. I think 2. I feel like there's another gun coming.
I'll back you at 2. Oh, right. Hamo's with me though.
All right, so Drinkwater at 2.
He pays the bills.
What do you reckon?
Yeah,
2 or
no,
1?
let's go 2. Are we doing it over? So is it over their career?
Oh, just as players.
Just up until now, I guess.
Yeah, let's go 2.
Go 2.
Luke Brooks.
Fuck. We're cooked here because we're saying that Liam Henry's better than Luke Brooks, which, to be fair, is true. So Luke Brooks
are
5.
we talking Tigers, Luke Brooks? Yeah, let's go
Yeah, is
5.
it Tigers, Luke Brooks?
Luke Brooks in Manly.
Oh, Manly's him. He's 1. But yeah, let's go 5.
Oh, we have to go 5.
Boys,
Who's number 1?
you should have gone Scott Drinkwater at 1. So your number 1 player, Danny Levi.
Here we go. Yes. It is Danny Levi. 100%.
He's the best.
Oh, that was
you know,
fun.
I played him when he scored his highest score of all time.
You mentioned that every week, every episode that we've done.
I want to make that into a short. I might post that on the Instagram. That was fun. That was better than
we were also pretty awful, to be fair.
That was better than Mattrix asking.
Where the St. George is in Sydney.
St. George.
Yeah,
In my notes, I wrote down where I thought you guys would go, and
what'd you have?
You guys pretty much nailed it. I had Henry at 4, Mariner at 3. I thought you'd go Drinkwater at 2 because I thought you'd be banking on a better player, and then obviously Brooks, you're forcing your hand to pick him at 5, and I thought Levi would end up at 1.
Fucking bastard, knows us way too well already. Cool. All right, let's
Can we skip on the bets because
no, we're talking about the bets. Let's go.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
By the way, let's talk about recent form, shall we? I am 100% in the last 2 weeks. What have you blokes been doing?
I am. I've actually won us $180.
Yeah, remind the people what that bet was and how it came about, because I don't know whether you can claim the whole thing.
Look, I opened my sports bet account and I was like, "Fuck! I didn't think that I had $20 in that. Let's go Dean Mariner and Jesse Arthurs." To be fair, I looked at Guns Try Map, and the only guys that had scored for the Broncos all year are the 2 wingers and Reece Walsh. And yeah, last week the only 2 guys to score for them were them. I just banged $20 straight in. Like, just lock it in, Eddie. And then worked out it was our Bet with Mates account. I offered you $10 back each.
You got slammed at the 65th minute mark. It was like 36-0. You were getting rinsed.
I was absolutely copping it. But look, you know what? Enjoy your play money, guys.
I mean, we got 17 rounds worth of money now. Because I explained on Sunday, we all put in $10 each, and we ran out of cash, and we had to redeposit, and there was $20 left over, and Mattrix spent it all. So we've got money down the kitty. But yes, you're only as good as your weakest link. And after carrying these 2 clowns for the first 2 weeks, unfortunately, I was the reason the multi lost. We had a good run. What did we have last week? We had the Warriors pick your own line -5.5. That got up thanks to Mattrix. And we had over 41.5 points in the Para Eagles game. That got up pretty much at halftime. So good bet there by Braino. And then it came down to the Melbourne Storm at $2.04. And I thought we were in with a chance when Pappy sent that 45-meter field goal to send it to extra time, but not to be. So we lost. But this week, we've gone with a bit of a flair. We've gone with a theme. So this week, we've gone with Supercoach fullbacks that we own. So
this is going to go beautifully.
0-3. I've picked Latrell Mitchell at $2.58 anytime try scorer. Braino's picked Tom Trbojevic, $2.03 anytime try scorer. And Mattrix has picked RTS at $2.51. That's going to give us a combined return of $13.14. So $10 is going to get us $131.45. If this gets up, we're in profit for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Considering Mattrix's shitty bet. So we've got cash for the rest of the year. So definitely worth sweating that one.
I'll tell the missus I've paid the home loan off. So
yeah. You do live in Queensland. Your fucking mortgage is probably about $145, so should be right. Let's fingers crossed we can get another dub. That'd be nice. But we've got a lot of questions to get through, and we promised we'd cover as many as we can. So let's do that.
It's question time. Let's answer your questions for the week ahead.
Now we apologise if we missed your question or didn't get to it. We've got 30 questions starred, which could honestly take another hour and a half. So we'll see. We'll see how we go. But M Davis 98 is asking, "Hey boys, can you put up the chart of all the teams' games at some point in this podcast?" And I'm assuming he's meaning the draw. Maybe a better way of doing this so we don't clog up the pod is hop in our DMs and we'll send you the what the schedule looks like. We put it up a few times on the pod.
Yeah. I was going to say, you can just open up the NRL website for the draw.
Yeah,
but you meant the
so
chart.
I'm assuming he's looking for the draw. Yeah, so hop in our DMs, mate. We'll send you the whole thing, all 27 rounds. James Gowing, should I play my whole centre wing team of Mulatalo, RTS, Lomax, May, Hammer, Young, and Bostock this week? That is comfortably...
the Avengers of centre wings in round 4.
Can you imagine what the Hookers front row, second row, and everything else looks like? That would
just
be
Liam Henry, Xavier Wilson, and Danny Levi.
Blake Taff at fullback. Yeah, for sure. I'm all for it. But
yes, you've got that
on the
course.
matchups, yeah.
Of course.
All right. Nick Porridge, have we missed the boat on Val Holmes? Looking at Young for the rest of the year with how the Roosters look. I guess maybe two-part question. Val Holmes, thoughts? Like, Mattrix, have we missed the boat on him in terms of price now? Is he priced out?
Yeah, unless you really think he's going to score well in the next couple weeks. I think that he's going to fluctuate a little bit. He's, of course, going to play Origin. I think that you can get him close to that 700K again throughout the year. It's just if you feel like you can't miss out on those points. I think that he is above value where he is at the moment. Look, but like at value for me is probably 740K, and he's at, 815? Yeah.
With a 38 break even though,
It's nice, isn't it?
He could be 880
against the Broncos as well without Walsh. But I mean, I feel a little bit better without Walsh and Haas. The Broncos aren't the same kind of defensive stalwart Broncos that we know, so you can't really consider them to be the same kind of matchup we thought they would be. So I don't necessarily mind Val Holmes as a shout. What do they got? They got round 4. They've got the Broncos, round 5. They've got the Titans next round.
And Para no defensive juggernaut either. Either of the Sharks, to be honest. Even after that, you got Penrith in round 8. Then you got the Dolphins, Titans, South, Tigers, and then he's off to Origin. Man, this is
That's
the week.
a nice little run, isn't it? Yeah, we could say 900K Val Holmes.
One bad game in between now and Origin.
Yes.
I mean,
sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Okay. So maybe the answer is no, you haven't missed the boat, but you will after this week. Dom Young, rest of the year, thoughts? What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, they're looking good. Marissa's attacks looks really good, and he's the focal point. So he's got wheels as well. He showed a clean pair of heels on the weekend, he's quick.
You made a good point.
You
made a good point in the Discord. There was a couple of questions around Dom Young, and we were just saying the centre wing can be volatile in general when we're relying on these guys to score tries and points every week. So
especially if you're not Brunter or Greg Marzio. I mean, I have an affiliation with Dom Young because he was my CBA back in 2020 when he first came over. So love him. But yeah, I mean, don't expect him to be pumping out hundreds every week. Of course, you might get the occasional 25-pointer.
Yeah, he's got a bit of running
bounce attendance in an NRL show, but.
Centre bounce attendance, yes. Centre bounce attendance.
Yeah. All right, we're back. Now we promised Hamo a full standard squeeze skull from Mattrix. So where's your standard squeeze? Where's that whiskey?
I don't know where it is. I'll have to find it in a bit.
Oh, that's a refund, Hamo.
Oh, hold on.
Hang on a sec. It's hiding behind his laptop. So fill the chamber up. So this is the combo pack from the standard squeeze. Just give it a squeeze. It fills the chamber up. All 30 mil, perfect pour. Mattrix likes to over pour a tad. So, and this is the standard squeeze. Ash, the owner of the standard squeeze, it's his home brew in there, the bourbon. So just a little bit extra. Thanks. There you go, Hamo. Thanks for the $5.
Thanks, Hamo. Man. MVP. He paid
Wayne Mulligan.
$5, so.
He wants me to ask the Phantom whether or not how long I'm going to be out. After I said I did my Supercoach ACL, I've messaged him, but he hasn't blocked me yet. So I'm hoping to get a reply very soon. I'll keep you guys updated.
Oh, well, 33% of this podcast is blocked.
Hayden Oddie is asking, and we haven't really talked about Isaiah Papali'i much, but I tell you what, he's featured in our chat, in our private chat a little bit. Thoughts on Pia Kura to IPAP as a pod?
How's your wife's team going?
My wife's team, she's actually really good at Supercoach, funnily enough. She took a heap of risks and just thought, fuck it.
She knows IPAP?
Yeah. She knows IPAP. She knows Api Coruscant. She knows all the good players for some reason, and I know all the shit ones. So
we'll get her on next week. Yeah, I mean, I like IPAP. I mean, I made a post on X after last week. He had 57 BP, scored a try. He has an attacking upside. I like him. I think he's not back to his Parramatta days, but I think he's priced at his worst. So I think can only go up from here for IPAP, and I like him a lot.
Yep, for sure. Timmy Stewart, big ups to Hazleton getting the start, the Alex Caruso of the NRL. Is that a haircut-based comment, maybe?
The headband with the tape as well.
Yeah, I like it.
Nice.
I like Hazleton as well as a player. If he could find some more minutes, maybe, like consistently, he's a look for sure. Cade, chances Cardi actually plays. Is it a pain management issue with the game time decision? With ribs, it always is. It's just pain tolerance, isn't it? Like, yeah, I mean, physio is basically saying that if he plays, it's a miracle. Just based on rib fractures can be intensely painful. And one of those things that you just have to push on and push through. And most of the time you can't really strap it. You can't do anything rehab-wise to fast-track the recovery. It's one of those things you just got to wait the time, right? So could be painful game. Cool. All right.
Yeah, sorry. You said everything. You said everything already.
Oh,
I mean,
cool. Usually you chime in, so I was like,
I've tried.
I'll go fuck
it
myself. Ian Johnson, Levi to Api Coruscant, Cleary to Brox. Do I boost Piakura or Lukey out for KPP?
Probably Lukey because he's more.
Yeah.
Just because
I actually
next week.
If you are uncomfortable holding Cleary, I think Luke Brooks is the only guy that you can do it. And I know I'm in the room with a bunch of Tigers fans, but as somebody
next week,
Jerome Hughes next week.
Look, I'd rather just get Hughes next week. Like, is Brooks's matchup like screaming like he's going to go huge? Like, he's done fucking heaps. He's been one of Manly's best players, and he's averaging like 60. It's like
60 is more than what Cleary's going to get. Like, if you're sitting there with your Salmons, your Chans, your Burbos, your Strange, like, honestly, man, like, you could go Brooks and be completely fine, and then move Brooks to 5/8 later on. Like, Ian Johnson wasn't really asking a question. He was sort of asking, does he go as Piakura or Lukey?
Yeah, no, he wasn't asking about the first two parts. It was like, do I boost for Lukey or Piakura? I think it's Lukey just because you have more cash next week. So,
yeah. I do agree with him, though, that if you are set on trading out Nathan Cleary, I probably think that Brooks is the best option.
As do I. But I don't think the gap is enough. Like, I don't think the gap is close enough to warrant the trade out. I would rather trade Hines out for Hughes next week.
Yep. Agreed. Burbo, Galvin, or Salmon for last reserve from Mr. Hamo himself.
Lucky G.
Why is it Galvin?
Yeah, Lucky G.
It's Galvin for me too. Lock it in, Eddie.
Yep.
Simba.
Shout out to Oman. Doesn't mind Caesar this week, or Caesar over the next 3 rounds before round 7. If you're going to get rid of Cleary to Caesar to free up, 400k? Cheeky downgrade if you're desperate. You've got the Para, Dolphins, and the Dragons before round 7.
I reckon you'll have old mate centre wing if you do that. You'll have bloody Val. You'll have Dom Young. Just hold Greg Marju until he's back. Like, you have plenty of cash, plenty of coin.
Jacob Carraz, centre wing 7. Lock and load. Cleary to Dom Young for 3 weeks. Can just trade back Dom after the cash, asks Mark. I'm assuming it's Dom Young via our mate Hutchison.
Oh, yeah, Hutcho.
I mean, yeah, I don't hate it. If you got Hutcho in the centre wing, maybe that's an option. Make some quick cash over the next 3 weeks. Dom Young's got a negative break even.
The savior that we didn't know we needed.
I know. We didn't even start with him. I think we started with it was either Savin or Hutchison, wasn't it? And
if you told me Hines goes down next week and I can go back in time, I still wouldn't start with Hutcho.
Would you go to Luke Brooks then, though?
Probably.
No. Mattrix, what do you think? Cade is asking if he has to play one. Hughes, Salmon, or Burbo? Who's he pick this week?
Hughes. 100%. He's safe. I like Burbo's matchup, but I just think that you could get 20 from Burbo. You could get 70 from Burbo on best case scenario. I think you're going to get 50 from Hughes.
What? Are you
Are you getting
how much
50
of
from?
that fucking hookah have you been drinking?
Are we-
Jesus.
Are we talking Henry or Hughes?
No, Hughes will be all right this week. I'm
Sam
thinking
Hughes,
about playing him.
Sam Hughes, who has not scored above a 25 all year and plays about 6 minutes off the bench, is going to score a 50
Yeah,
points.
looks good. Yeah,
Are
no,
you
I got
high?
mixed up with Henry.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, are you high? For me, it's Burbo because Burbo can get a 20 and so can Hughes, but Hughes can't get a 75. So I'd rather just play Burbo.
So just no love for the fish whatsoever.
It's
Mate, did you see my poll?
it's still
Did you see my-
probably it's still
Did you see
probably
my poll unlimited? I tagged all the members. I was like, hey, who's my last reserve? And I had like these 3 options. And there was like 20 votes for Burbo and like 10 votes for Hughes. Nothing for fucking Salmon. Not even one. Not even a
And a
penny vote.
million votes for Galvin, wasn't it? So
Like 70 votes for Galvin.
Yep. All right, shots. Hey boys, thoughts on Hammer, Dom Young in for Cleary, Tuapiki, and Piakura? I mean, however, you brought in 3 players for only brought in 2 players for only 3. That's impressive. I'm not quite sure. I like Hammer and Dom Young, like Dom Young and Hammer at the same time though. Like
any question? Okay, I'm just going to make
It's a
this
lot of
known. Any,
risk.
any question that we get that says, "Do I try to find a Cleary?" I'm not a fan, so I'm just going to say no, just off the face that I'm not a fan of trading at Cleary. It's nothing to do with the rest of your trades though.
thoughts on Ethan Strange this week, Ian Johnson. Burbo versus Ethan Strange as your final reserve.
Burbo.
I think Burbo against the Dragons could go large, so maybe that's the preface. If we get a question with Burbo in it, it's him too. Now, interesting comment from Wayne. Manly always go right. Even Brooks comes over to the right-hand side to get the ball because that's where the ball is going. Yeah, I agree with that. But again, we've seen Turbo sweep through the left pretty successfully over the last couple of years as well. I don't know whether they're going to lose that completely. There's a question about Burbo, Cade. I'm not ignoring it. It's just the answer's probably to keep Burbo or play Burbo. Could you hold to it? So this one's an interesting one from Munda Difflin, obviously an Office fan. Could you hold Tuapiki just in case C&K isn't back next game?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't need to do anything, like sure, like if you can trade at Salmon for, I think he's more money, so I don't hate it. And if you're very blessed, like if you started the season quite well and have no huge fires, I don't hate holding Tuapiki just for infinite time.
And I mean,
Either.
also, sorry, Matty, go.
Oh, I was just going to say, getting Tuapiki out isn't boost worthy. Like,
He's not going to lose cash this week, is he?
No,
and if he plays next week or the week after or whatever when he comes back, he's a chance of hitting his break even. It's not monstrous. And, you know, it also gives you another look.
I think he's just a walking 50 whenever he plays with some upside. So, like, if you want to hold him, go for it.
We've got John asking, is Plath a good move for the future? Negative break even. Going to have Jewel soon. We spoke about that a little bit, didn't we, earlier on?
The only way I want Plath in my team is if I'm running double cheapy 5/8. So I just think the cash gen from Galvin is monstrous, and the fact that he's going to be 70k cheaper, and the fact he has a much better break even. The only way I like having Plath in my side is if I send Tom Sanks to $50 a game to give him dual position early, or you run dual 5/8 cheapies.
Yep. We're not ignoring you, Paul. It's but Josh made it clear that he doesn't like trading out Cleary, so this one has a Cleary trade out involved. But
I'm out.
Pappenhausen, Piakura.
I'm out.
The ins on this one are Teddy, Garrick, and a halfback under 443k, which there are none. So I'd probably avoid doing that. Willison or Henry? Willison or Henry, Mattrix? Is there a Broncos vibe going on here? You picking Willison, or do you just have to go with what we know with Henry?
I have Henry right now, but I think Willison will probably outscore him over the next couple of weeks. But I think Henry, in the long term, you could play him for a lot longer. So
No, see, I think if I don't have either, I'd rather buy Willison. I just think he can get to 50
The
points.
upsides there.
Yeah, well, hang on. So Henry is also...
Willison's going to do it over the next couple of weeks, but
Yeah,
Henry's going to be a long-term play.
I don't know, because like Jared Hargraves mentioned if they signed him. James Fisher-Harris is back soon. Like, if I have neither, I'd rather get Willison, because I think he can get to 50 points a lot easier than Henry, all things considering.
Yeah, I agree with that. Would you trade Piakura or Smithies for KPP? JWall TV is asking.
Piakura.
That's you,
has to be
Braino.
Piakura.
Answer that, Braino.
Well, it's Piakura, but I mean, I'm just trying to be the good bloke, you know? Just let everybody else answer. Cade, what low BE, 2RF, centre wing or front row forward are you bringing in have enough cash for anyone? I mean, we need probably see what your team looks like to answer that.
Yeah, I mean, Tuolagi, Semi-Fanu, Willison are probably the three best in those unique positions.
Bostock?
Yeah, there's money to be made with Bostock and a couple of nice games coming up, but hard to know without looking at your team and knowing who you already have. Radio Buckley, Lomax, Dom Young, Karaz, or Hammer. I still don't. I'm not 100% on Lomax personally. I still have my doubts around the Dragons in general. So no for him. Karaz on the Bulldogs. Bulldogs have been poor, but he scored okay. I'm still just picking Hammer. I think that's probably the direction I'm going to go this week, at least for a short term 2 to 3 week play. At worst case, he makes a bit of money, and I can move him to someone I can keep. Anything to add?
What more do you have to see from Lomax though? Because 106 in round 1, massive base, 55 base, 44 in the side that got shut out, which is fucking unreal, and then 98 last week. Like, what more do you have to see?
Nothing. I don't need to see anything else. I know what he's going to be. I know what he can be. I trust the Dragons to continue to be this good? Okay, so maybe a better question becomes, are the St. George Illawarra Dragons this year the Dolphins of last year? Is Zach Lomax the Jermaine Asako of 2023?
Okay, Aman.
Same question.
No, I don't know. I think Lomax is a... I don't know. I think Lomax can be more consistent than Sako.
Can I tell you what I need to see from Lomax? I need him to see him play for another team.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the Tigers are getting rid of Junior Tupu, so...
He would be a lock in a top 8 team as one of the first picked in Supercoach, I reckon.
He'd be a lock in 14 other teams.
Again, Junior Tupu is going to the Dolphins, so there's a wing spot available at Leichhardt, my friend. Feel free to come on over.
I'd enjoy that.
Imagine Lomax and Olam just rattling you.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Scotty Dub wants to know for draft, will Blore hold his spot over Chan?
Blore was terrible. He was terrible.
No.
There's a reason why Blore hasn't been picked as well. He's been fit. He's been ready to go, and he hasn't been picked over Chan. They had big props over Chan as well. The Bellyache was talking about how much they love Chan and what he did for the Catalan Dragons in the Super League, and they just froth over him. So there's no way. I think Chan was only out, wasn't he? And we didn't mention him in the casualty ward, but
hand infection, which was weird.
Hand infection, yeah. So hopefully he's back.
Let's drop Blore. Isn't it funny how Tigers seem to get the better end of these deals? Paul Momirovski, Sean Blore,
Harry Grant,
James Tedesco
swap. That was one of our best, to be fair. I don't think we're ever going to beat that. Paul Momirovski for Harry Grant.
It was low. We got nothing out of it. We got false hope. That was all we got.
Yeah, we did. So Pablo Escobar's come back from the dead. When will you target Appy?
I don't know. When
3 weeks ago.
I don't have 45 flies out.
Yeah, when you make your team at the start of the season, Mattrix is saying. Zach wants to know if you're not selling Brown, he called him Brown the Plotter as well, which is real rough. For Gagai via duels with Strange and playing Galvin as 581, who will score 10 points less than Brown, delete the app. There's a bit going on here, and it is 10:30 at night. So
I think he's had as many as me.
There's a bit happening, but basically he's saying if you're not selling Brown for
delete the app.
Dane Gagai.
No, I think the Plotter Gagai, I assume he means Jacob.
Oh,
wait,
yeah, okay.
Hang on. If you're
sure?
selling Brown the Plotter, no, sorry. If you're not selling Brown the Plotter for Gagai, far out with Strange and Galvin. All right, bit happening here, bit on.
Yeah, a bit of dual position movement going on.
I mean, if you want to buy Dane Gagai, my friend, be my guest.
Yeah, good luck to you. Good luck to you. We'll finish off with one or two more. Ian Johnson, boost Mulatalo to Val, or do I do Lukey to KPP? For me, it's Lukey to KPP.
I mean, I'm not...
Yep.
Surely you didn't start with Mulatalo. You got him in last week. And now you just, rage trading him? Like, no.
Nah, hold tight for at least another week or two. And Mr. Callio to wrap things up, Satili to Samuela Fainu or Burbo to Samuela Fainu. So Satili or Burbo out?
Satili's got a 23 break even and he's running against Brad Schneider.
Yeah, you got to hold Satili, trade Burbo, I think.
Yeah, it's Burbo for me.
Love it. And we still went sub 2 hours on probably one of the biggest shambles of team lists since round 27 last year. So we've done okay. We've done all right. Thanks for all the live questions and thanks for getting involved in the chat. As always, we love it. Obviously, you can still become an Insight Unlimited member. It's only $25 for the full year and you get to ask us as many questions as you want. It's not just every Tuesday night. Hit us up in the Discord as well. And you can join the free Discord too. So go and do that. The link is in the description as well. Thanks for jumping on. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Join the Insight Supercoach World Cup as well. That's nearly... I guess we could probably say nearly wrapping up in the next maybe couple of months. So jump in now, $20 to enter. Take us all on. Josh has officially told us he's going to be an AFL Supercoach person now.
I'm ranked like top 1%, top 1.5%.
Outstanding.
I'm just
Mattrix is leading the way in the NRL as well for us. He's leading the podcast, a little league that we've got going on. So, yeah. But guys, thanks for watching.
Before we wrap up, honestly, with your trades this week, do you expect a green arrow?
If I don't, oh no, I shouldn't say things like that. That could be dangerous.
Mate, I was going to tweet out. Sorry, just on like 4:00 on Thursday, I was like, I'm so confident in my team, but don't get a green arrow. I'll donate $250 to whatever the top comment charity is. After clearing at 121, I was like, yeah, locked and loaded. Sweet, I'm not going to lose $250. And I was sitting there going, fuck, this is going to be tight.
I'm in trouble. Yeah.
Do you think you get a green arrow?
Yeah, I'm getting green this week, 100%. What about you, Mattrix? You're higher ranked than us, so there's a bit more risk.
Oh, I think I'll stay roundabout, really. I'm not getting real aggressive with the trades. I'm just going to hold ground at this stage. I could boost, and I think that I would 100% get green arrows, but I'm not going to donate $250 to Hummingbird House if I don't. So
mine hinges on Trell, really. I think everyone owns Turbo, so mine hinges on Trell, and I'm holding Cleary, so it's like dicey. But ranked 65k, I'd better hope so. Otherwise, you might not be seeing me next week.
That'll do. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for... We're going to get out of here real quick before we get cancelled. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on... what's today? Tuesday. We're going to do...
Public
Did
holiday
you say Monday? Oh, it is too. So wrap-up's going to be probably Monday next week. Interesting. Oh, we got time off. Cool. I've got a 4-day weekend. Happy days.
Nobody works Monday, man.
I mean, Matt doesn't work anyway.
That's true. We'll see you Monday. We'll do the wrap up, but we'll also got a couple of episodes coming up for the Insight Unlimited Q&A is coming up as well. So, jump into the Discord, have a chat with us, and we will see you on Monday. Good luck. Green arrows for everyone. Peace out.
Cheerio.